Okay, we're ready for my guest, John Michael Thornton. He's here today with us. And John had a long way to drive in the snow, so thank you so much, John.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me today.
John, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. When did you discover that you were first psychic? What age?
Well, I grew up in a family that was very open to psychic work and metaphysics. I don't know if you're familiar with Edgar Cayce.
Very familiar with Edgar. I love Edgar.
My parents met at an ARE Edgar Cayce event.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so it's always been a part of my life.
Cool.
And so growing up with it, there was always an expectation of weird stuff and psychic experiences happening. And I didn't have too many of my own. I mean, they were always around, and since my father was a regional coordinator for the ARE, we had ARE speakers and psychics staying at our house when I was growing up.
Oh, so you were already in the family.
So yeah, I mean,
it was in the family.
Yeah, it was always there. I was probably in my early teens when it really started to manifest for myself.
I see.
And started seeing auras very clearly, feeling energy very through my hands. If I would walk by someone who had really hot energy, I would almost feel scalded.
Oh yeah, I've experienced that. Yeah.
And so it's sort of like once the switch was flipped,
the light switch,
it all started happening really
Right.
quickly. And I was lucky enough to find a spiritual teacher by the name of Linda Schiller, who ran the Natural Psychic School of Metaphysics.
Oh, cool.
And my parents sponsored her to come and do a training in the Youngstown area. And so there was a group of us from the local ARE, and wide range of ages. I was the youngest graduate at the time, and the same class was my ARE great-grandmother, who my parents lived with after they got married, who was like 87 at the time. So we were the youngest and the oldest that she'd ever had.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
yeah.
Did you see any spirits or anything when you were a kid? You know, did you see
Not
ghosts
so
or spirits?
much.
Because some psychics talk about seeing that when they were very early on,
Yeah.
like 4, and then they just stayed that way the whole.
Working with the dead really isn't my bag.
Okay. Okay.
So,
what kind of psychic
I can
are you?
do it, but it's not where my talent naturally goes to.
Okay. Gotcha. You're not a medium so much
Yeah.
as a psychic. Okay.
I get a lot of health information, not
Okay.
surprising with
Medical,
the Edgar Cayce
intuitive.
background.
Okay. Right. Edgar Cayce. Right. He's a healer.
But since my first expression of my talent came through seeing auras and seeing energy, that still is where a lot of it goes.
Okay.
So I see the energy and how it interacts with inside of a person and with other people.
Oh,
so
interesting.
a lot of the way that I do my work is I'll be tracing, the first thing I do is start tracing your energy flow through your body. And if something looks weird, then that's when I try to do the follow-up and figure out what's going on. So if there's strange energy around the 4th chakra, so we're going to talk about relationships, and we're going to talk about personal interactions. If it's around the 5th chakra, it's going to be identity and communication. And so that starts me focusing in on what we need to talk about.
Okay.
And then
the
from
Avon
there...
Lake, the Avon Lake viewers don't. You got to explain chakras because they're.
Okay.
So
We're
can you
cool.
explain chakras?
Chakras are the traditionally seen 7 energy centers of the body, of the physical body. There are some mystics who see other chakras, but there are 7 physical chakras. And they control different parts of... They're like processors.
Okay.
Like if you were a robot, these would be the microprocessors that were controlling different things.
That's a cool way of explaining it.
So,
Thank you.
yes, I stole that from Carolyn Mace.
Oh, Carolyn Miss. I love her. Carolyn Miss.
So, so you've got 7, and they do different stuff. And when I do a reading, there's always an educational aspect of it, because I'll be like, all right, 4th chakra, and it's da 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 da. Let's talk about how it affects you.
Interesting. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So you you go with the chakras, you go with the auras, and you see the energy field in people's bodies.
Well,
to
and
be able
also...
then you channel the message to be able to heal the people.
Well, that's also going to show a lot of the physical illnesses and issues, because if you've got a physical problem, it's going to show up in your energy.
Exactly.
And
right.
so that helps me hone in. And then, once you know the basic area, then you zoom in, you zoom in, you zoom in, you zoom in until you know exactly what's going on, and then ask Spirit for what's happening.
Okay, I've never met a psychic like you that is more of a medical intuitive, so this is great.
Well, but also then, you know,
A lot of them
your
are.
energy is going to show up where your personal interactions are, and
Yeah.
your workplace stuff, and your family environments, and whether or not you're grounded, and how your spiritual work is going on.
Right.
So while it comes through in the physical, it's more to say that I'm focusing on energy anatomy, and the physical is the side effect of that.
I see what you're saying. You feel the vibration of the person.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's a frequency, right?
yeah, so to say just, well, the problem's with your kidney, that's not the first thing I'm going to say. The first thing I'm going to say is, ooh, second, third chakras, there's something weird going on, and that's energy in this area. Let's talk about what is causing this physical illness, as opposed to just saying, well, let's just talk about the physical illness. Because it'll just come back in a different way if you don't deal with the root issue.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I'm very right on there with you. I know. So you eat a special diet?
No.
Okay, so you eat anything you want.
Well, to a certain extent. There are certain foods that I don't deal
Okay.
well with.
Okay.
And especially as I've started, it's so easy to get ungrounded. It's so easy to get physically unhealthy in this line of work, because we're focused so much on being outside of our body that we start to
Helping other
ignore
people so
what's
much.
going on with our
Yeah.
own. And a
Yeah.
lot of psychics then pick up yick from their clients.
Yeah.
Yick being
yeah.
a technical term.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Technical term. I like it.
So if I'm eating a lot of junk food, I start to feel crummy. It affects my work.
Right,
So
right.
I tend to avoid fried foods. I tend to avoid lots of carbohydrates because they just make me feel weird. You know, it's always going to be eating what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like the more you focus on how your own energy is working with your body, the more aware you are of that.
Okay, cool.
And you just stop eating and drinking things that make you feel awful.
Yes, yes. Okay. What can you tell the viewers about the best way to become psychic?
You got to do the work, and you got to practice.
Do the meditation?
You got to meditate. You've got, personally, I would not recommend any kind of real spiritual journey if there's not a physical aspect, be it yoga or Tai Chi or something along those lines, because once again, you're trying to channel large amounts of energy through your body. If your body's not prepared for that, you end up messing yourself up.
Good point.
If you walk into any psychic fair, most of the psychics look 3 minutes away from death. They look so unhealthy. So many of them are overweight. So many of them have so many physical problems. And when you ask them about it, they're like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm just in spirit. I don't pay any attention to this body. But
they're going to
it doesn't work that way.
The consequences of it later, because they're opening their body up to so many energies, right?
And
so that's a good way to look at it.
If you're going to be doing a lot of heavy-duty psychic work, especially if you want to focus on healing, and you want to be in it for the long haul, you can have incredible results without focusing on the physical.
You don't want to die young?
Well, yeah. Casey died at 62. His readings told him that he should only be doing 2 to 3 readings a day. He was doing 8 at the time of his death.
Oh, my God.
His mother lived into her late 90s.
Whoa.
These are the things you want to pay attention to.
Oh, that's good information for me, because I do the same kind of work. I mean, I exercise every day and stuff.
So, you know, if I was starting to do psychic work when I was in my late 60s,
for telling me
I
that,
wouldn't care.
I really want to live till I'm 80. I put that out there as a contract. Hey, creator, I'm going to live till I'm 80.
Right.
Me being the creator, too.
And I started doing psychic. I gave my first reading in that class when I was 15 years old. I want to be doing this for my entire life, which I would like to.
People for your entire
I'd like
life,
it to
so
last.
You can help a lot of people, right? So you would like yourself to last, so you can be able to do the work to help people.
So if you're in this for the long haul, you gotta balance the physical and the spiritual.
Right.
If you're in it for the short haul, doesn't really matter.
Hey, that's a very good point. I'm so glad you told me that.